Today, we're going to look at how much money other people have in their retirement accounts. But instead of just comparing yourself with others, I'm going to give you some benchmarks so that you can set your specific goals and explore strategies, including tax-smart moves to reach a comfortable retirement. This will be based on Vanguard's annual report, How America Saves, where they release retirement account balances of 5 million people and give us a glimpse into who the highest earners are. All right, we're diving into the age groups, and the first group is those under 25. These are the people who are just entering the workforce. Their balances range here between almost 2,000 and almost 7,000, and their participation contribution rates are the lowest of all of the groups. So if you're under 25, enrolled in your retirement plan and contribute more than 5%, you're already ahead of many. Let's say you earn a $50,000 salary. Your contribution here ranges between $2,950 and $2,700 annually, just over $200 monthly. The thing to know here is that if you double your contribution to 10%, you'll actually reduce how much taxes you're paying. So you'll be contributing about $5,000 a year or $416 a month, but you'll save that $50 on taxes, and the missing part of your paycheck will only be $386. As a project manager overseeing multi-million-dollar budgets and now teaching practical wealth strategies, I love a good checklist. So here's my checklist for this age group. First, I want you to enroll in your retirement plan. If your employer doesn't offer one, open an IRA or a Roth IRA. Next thing to do is to set up your automatic contributions and aim for about 10%. The more runway your money has to compound, the less you'll have to contribute later. Keep in mind that every dollar you invest in your 20s turn into $23 by retirement thanks to compounding. So at this stage, time matters way more than the amount. If your employer offers a match, definitely take advantage of that. And at this stage, learn to live below your means, meaning don't spend all of your money and put some of it away for retirement and some into savings. The next age group is 25 to 34, and this is where things start to get a little bit more serious. This group has a few years of experience under their belt. Maybe they switched jobs a couple of times or got promoted and making a little more money. Here's their balances, and 82% are enrolled in their employer's retirement plan. That's almost a 30% jump from the previous age group. This group also contributes a higher amount. So let's look at the numbers. If someone makes $60,000 a year, they contribute just over $4,000 every year, which comes down to about $350 monthly. So if you're enrolled and contribute more than that, you're already ahead of the crowd. But let's also compare it with an actual guideline issued a while back by Fidelity to see where you stand not only as it relates to others, but also as it relates to a best practice in finance. So according to this guideline, by 35, you should have double your salary saved in your retirement account. So again, if you're making 60, your goal should be 120. You've been saving for about 10 years now. Some of that money will be there from contributions and some will come from compounding. To give you some perspective, every dollar you invest in this stage of life turns into around $11 at retirement. So there's still a really good runway for your money. And here's my to-do list for this age group. First, master control of your money. This means have a stable routine where all of your transactions are on auto pay and you're using one credit card and paying it off monthly. Next, I want you to try and increase your contributions. If you're not at 10%, get to 10%. And then if you are, continue increasing them with every pay raise you get. If you can have a goal of getting to 20%, this will really help take advantage of compounding. And later, when financial demands are higher, it will let you ease off the gas a little bit. The next thing to do here is to focus on paying off your debt. Ideally, you would move into your next age bracket without any student loans, car loans, or any consumer debt. And lastly, I recommend adopting a mindset of always being on the lookout of developing your skills so that you can progressively make more money by either getting to a higher paying job or starting a side business. Okay, the next age group is 35 to 44. This group is probably struggling the most, and I say it because I'm in this age group and I know that no matter how much you're making, the financial demands here are the highest. This group is probably saving for down payments on houses, raising kids, paying for daycares on top of mortgages, upgrading their cars or rentals to fit their growing families, or maybe dealing with divorces and trying to figure out how to do it all on their own. But looking at the data, the balances here have grown and 86 are still participating in their retirement plans. The contributions also increased a little bit. So if you're someone in this age group and you make $70,000 a year, you're contributing around $5,000 annually or $400 monthly. This is definitely not enough to prepare for retirement. So here's my checklist for this group. By 45, you've been in the workforce for about 20 years and your target here is to have 4 times your salary saved for retirement. So again, if you're making $70,000, that's $280,000. So my first advice here is to continue your contributions no matter what. You might have them reduced due to increased life demands, but make sure to at least get your employer match and just stretch yourself a little bit and continue contributing. If you haven't already, pay off your debt and don't take on any more debt. Try to drive your car as long as possible. The next thing I recommend is getting really aggressive at either climbing the corporate ladder or putting your head down and building a side business so that you can have an additional income stream to rely on. This is also a good age to buy property so that it's paid off by retirement, or if you're not buying a home, put that extra amount that would have gone towards a home purchase into your investment so that you have that extra money to continue paying rent in retirement. And lastly, and probably the most important advice here, is to learn tax strategies. Despite the popular belief that cars are your number one wealth killer, it doesn't come close to how much an average American pays in taxes. So learning tax strategies will be the biggest payoff in a lifetime. If you manage to save just 10-15% on taxes and invest that amount instead, this can yield one additional $1 million if invested over your lifetime. And it's very doable with the right accounts, the right investments, and a little bit of math. You can download my free guide on how to do a tax audit and some strategies to help you maximize how much money you keep in your pocket. And if you do start a business, it's worth considering outsourcing tax advice to an expert. If you're having kids, learn how to set them up with an investment account. If you start when they're first born, every dollar will be worth $53 in retirement. The key here is not to make them pay taxes on the $52 profit. So the most common strategy here is to open a 529 college fund and contribute steadily there. And once they start having earned income, convert some of that balance into Roth IRA so that it grows tax-free. So if you contribute just $100 a month for 18 years and then convert it into Roth, they'll have over $1 million by age 65 tax-free. This strategy and a few others are in my guide, so be sure to download it. The link will be in the description below. The next age group is 45 to 54. Their average balance is between $188,000 and $67,000, and 87% are participating in retirement plans. I'm genuinely curious about the reason why the rest don't participate. And it could be because their employer doesn't offer a match and they are contributing to their own IRA, which is not included in this report, or could be something else. This group's contributions are at around 8%. So for someone making $80,000 a year, they're contributing between $6,200 and $6,400 a year, or around $500 a month. And here's my checklist for this group. According to Fidelity, your goal at 55, so by the end of this age group, is 7 times your salary. And given that at 55, you've been a part of the workforce for 30 years, coming close to that goal should be achievable. If you're not close to this number, focus on increasing your contributions. Next, if you have a mortgage, this would be a great time to try and pay it off. But there's a couple of nuances. If you have a really low mortgage rate, if you bought or refinanced during COVID and your rate is under 3%, you might actually be better off putting extra money into investments because your money will earn higher interest and work harder for you. Another thing that you can do as you get closer to this age bracket is estimate your retirement spending. There are a numerous ways to do this, but the easiest is to start with your current spending, maybe look at the last 6 to 12 months of your expenses and categorize it into some broad categories like housing, food, transportation, healthcare, travel. And then critically look at it and adjust for retirement changes. So if your mortgage is going to be paid off, reduce that amount to just the property taxes and maintenance. If you're not going to be commuting to work, adjust your transportation cost. If you plan to travel more, you can add in a little bit there. Your retirement withdrawals are probably going to be taxable, so make sure that you're including your tax impact and definitely plan for 2 to 3% annual inflation so that your projections are realistic. Next thing is decide on your safe withdrawal target. And to do this, there's a couple of best practices that you can keep in mind. Your target balance at retirement should be expenses times 25. And if you set a 4% rate of withdrawal, which is considered the safe rate, your portfolio will grow slightly faster than the rate at which you spend your money. So let's look at a couple of scenarios. First, if your annual expenses are $40,000 multiplied by 25, this makes your target balance $1 million. Assuming a 5% growth of your portfolio and 40,000 or 4% withdrawal, you'll likely not run out of money and actually have just a little bit more by the end of your retirement. This rule is conservative and is based on steady growth and steady withdrawals, so it has that little safety net built in. However, there's still that market risk that you need to keep in mind. In the next scenario, you'll also have $1 million, but withdraw $60,000 a year. And assuming that 5% growth, by the end of your retirement, you'll likely have no money left. This again is if returns are steady, but the market does fluctuate. And if there's a major recession, you can potentially run out of money sooner. And here's another possibility. Let's say you have $2 million balance and withdraw $60,000 per year. With the same 5% rate, by the end of your retirement, you're going to be at $6 million because your withdrawal rate is that much lower than the rate of return. This is why it's really important to plan for how much you're going to need in your retirement and to plan for tax strategies on how to pass on your extra money without major taxes being triggered along the way. All right, the last age group, actually the second to last age group is 55 to 64. Their balances range here between 270 and 95, and the same 13% don't participate. This group contributes slightly higher than the previous one. I'm very surprised to see that we're not at 10% contributions yet, and this truly is a big miss, especially for this and the previous age groups. I say this because as you get closer to retirement, you're able to do catch-up contributions to your retirement account, which both reduce how much taxes you pay now and help you grow your retirement more aggressively. So if you're someone in this age group and making around $100,000 a year, you're contributing $9,000 to $9,500 or $750, $790 a month. According to Fidelity, the goal by 65 is 10 times your salary, or as we covered earlier, 25 times estimated expenses. So these two numbers will give you a good range to target. During this decade, you should understand what your benefits are during retirement, your Social Security and how collecting at different ages will affect the amount that you can get, your pension if you have one, your healthcare benefits. This way you'll be prepared to retire and not have to figure out things on the fly. If you're not close to your target, try to maximize and increase your catch-up contributions. Another good thing to do is to evaluate Roth conversions. That's converting your taxable funds into Roth to pay taxes now versus in retirement if your current tax bracket is low. And if you are very far off your target, research different scenarios for retirement, maybe moving to a place where the cost of living is lower. And here's the last age group, over 65. This group's balances between 300 and 100, and 79 are still going strong with contributions, which makes me think that this group is a mix of those who are still working and contributing and those who already retired. So my checklist for this group is if you're still working because you enjoy your work, that's amazing and good for you. But if you're still working because financially you can't retire, use those catch-up contributions and think outside the box of how you can maximize what you have, minimize taxes, and live on less. Sometimes talking to a tax professional is worth it, as their expertise can be very, very valuable. And there's always an option to do a hybrid, work part-time and start collecting distributions, and that might bring a pretty good balance. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some insights into how you're tracking towards your retirement, some ideas on how to maximize your wealth along the way. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more valuable finance content. And if you're feeling financially behind, tune into my next video. It will be linked right here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.